We love polarizing. We love being polarizing.
I'll tell you what, I love wrestling.
Think it's great.
It's pretty great.
What up, man?
What's going on?
It is N something Pacific time. The Royal Rumble 2024 has concluded.
We didn't wait, did we?
No, this is good.
Oh, yeah.
Good. Timely.
You just sit and you watch 4 hours of wrestling, and then you're like, you know what I want to do? I want to think about that 4 hours for another whatever we end up doing here.
Right? I can't go to sleep with these thoughts. I need to share them.
No, certainly not.
And Twitter characters don't suffice.
No.
Not in the world of wrestling.
No, and you know what? It's I think sometimes Twitter can be just overbaked. And so I just I don't post a ton of wrestling thoughts on Twitter the way I maybe did in the past.
Well, let's set the table. Here with my guy Justin Walker.
Interesting word of choice. Who's sitting at the head?
Just grab a seat. Just grab a seat. Everybody won't be here today. It won't be a full house. Last time we had Justin on was season 1. I'm doing this season 2 thing. So welcome to season 2. We're happy to have you back in the classroom. Share your expertise.
I'm so hyped for season 2. Season 2. Turn it up.
Season 2, man. Last time you were here, I believe we were discussing SummerSlam.
We were pre-SummerSlam, I think.
I was going to say, was it a preview or a review? Can't fully recall.
We had a lot of thoughts. We had a lot of John Cena thoughts, and I still have a lot of John Cena thoughts, but they're very different thoughts now.
We had that. We had an Austin Theory one-on-one to hash out and talk about.
We sure did.
Have another one of those. Should we mention who it is at the top?
Kind of. I don't know when it'll be ready to go, but I can preview it. It was yesterday actually. I had a big sit down. I was standing, he was sitting with Claudio Castagnoli, AEW former champion over at not AEW, the other one. Help me out here.
Ring of Honor.
Ring of Honor. I kept wanting to say OVW, which is not a thing anymore, I don't think. No, it probably is still a thing, actually. Anyway, so I had a big sit down with Claudio and did that over on the rooftop of our station there on the Strip, on the Las Vegas Strip. And I'll tell you what, he's a great guy, just a great guy.
Now, is that already up?
No, not yet. I'm still in progress on it.
Cool.
Planning on that, probably dropping that on Monday, maybe Tuesday if things sort of fall back. So we'll see. I don't have any sound right now. Next time I come around, it's going to be pretty.
I was going to say you didn't bring an exclusive. You heard it here first on D Hoop University. You're terrible.
No, you're right. I'm a bad guy. I'm a heel. I'm a heel in this situation.
Yeah, no, just joking, man. Just joking. We're going to talk about that. I again should have been somewhat present for that, and you all can relate to when you're off work. Going back to work sounds like far less enticing than it does for whatever reason you thought of prior to.
Well, the interview was on a Friday, and it sounded a lot more enticing on Thursday. It was. I understand. I understand it.
I still have FOMO, like after the fact, and it's you can't have that because it was your call not to go.
Right. I got you.
Anywho, yeah, I want to hear a little bit about that. And I didn't write. I made it a point to go grab my pen before we started, and I didn't write anything down.
Oh, okay.
So I think we have to start. Well, it was 4 matches on the show, so that's the
a 4-hour show with 4 matches on it is that's something, man. That was a lot. And I used to be pretty down on the 4-hour shows, but this one was pretty. It felt like the right length. Maybe it could have been a little shorter, but.
And this is what I was saying I wanted to tell you once we started recording was that yeah, so it in fact was all of 4 hours because it was prompt at 5, and
Yeah.
I couldn't make it. Bath time hit.
Oh yeah.
Right in the middle of the show.
Important stuff. It's the family stuff. You gotta do that.
Bath time hit during the 4-way. So
oh wow, holy cow. That's a bad time for bath time to hit.
And it was a thing where he didn't get the nap all day. Yeah. And we talked about the Rumble all week. So he got a taste in the women's one, and I was like, all right, he's sort of kind of going to make it, but he's also like, it's a little more cranky, and he didn't get a nap all day. So I was like, I don't think he's going to make, let's get this bath happening. And in transferring all of that, one room, bedroom, bathroom, I got on the phone. I'm here, I'm live. I went back in time, missed a chunk of the 4-way, saw the finish, missed just about all of Logan, saw the recap at the end. So I call it was a Rumble exclusive night for me, just about.
That's, you know what, I can fill you in, especially on the 4-way. I've got things to say.
I feel like that was perfectly fine for me as well. Like tonight was to crown 2 Rumble winners. I got to see that, and maybe didn't overwhelm my welcome. But let's talk about the show, man. We have a winner in both the men's and women's.
We do.
And the bigger headline would be that Cody went back to back.
Unbelievable. I would not have called that. Not even close. In fact, I felt like it was anybody but Cody coming into this, if I'm being honest. And even watching it, it felt like, who's going to get it? Who's going to get it? And I was discounting Cody anytime I looked at the ring. I'm like, okay, it could be Gunther. Oh, maybe Gunther will get this. And he was I believe he was in the final 4. Was he in the final 3? He might have been in the final 3. And
definitely final 3. Yeah.
Yeah. So he was in there, and I was like, oh, it could be Gunther. And then, there was the little part in the back of my head that just kept going like, Dave Taylor made this for Punk. Like it's the more, I don't want to say disappointing, but it's the more predictable ending to the show that was possible. But I thought, well, sometimes predictable is how it works.
As it played out, it didn't feel like that was going to go over well, did it?
No, it felt like it was going to be a disaster because the crowd was pretty firmly behind Cody. And I don't know if it's because that's Rhodes country over there, or if I don't know exactly why it worked out that way. But man, there was no doubt that crowd was behind Cody, and it was I kept seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, which was perhaps CM Punk winning, and thinking like, oh, that's a freight train. That's not going to be a good ending if that happens right now. People might boo him.
Runaway train.
It was scary, and then they pulled the trigger, and like, how many times have you said it about WWE lately? Like, we should have seen it coming. Of course, Cody's winning the Rumble again. Of course, he's going back for Reigns Rhodes 2. Of course it is. Like, we knew that the day after WrestleMania, what was it, 39? Right. We knew it the day after 39. That's where we're going with this. Of course, we're gonna draw it out. It's gonna take a whole year. I hope nobody gets hurt. I hope the crowd doesn't turn on Cody, but that's where we're heading. And then sometime over the course of the last 9 months or whatever it's been, we all forgot. We all went, no, look at all these flashy toys in front of us. Oh, The Rock showed up. It's look at Punk is back, and here are all these things.
Okada.
Yeah, it's gonna be Okada, and then Rumble ends, and it's like, oh yeah, it's exactly what we knew all along. So
and we're happy.
I'm not unhappy. I when it comes to this, I'm just saying, and we've said this, personally before, one-on-one, but if it's Cody, he can't lose this time.
Mm-hmm.
He can't. So this might be it. And
no, man, it's all being written on the wall.
The story is being written as we speak. I know he hates that phrase now, but he wrote it, so he has to deal with it. No, it's there, and this is the way the story ends, and it's going to be tied in a nice bow, and it's really a round number WrestleMania ending. That's sort of what they love to do, and so.
Yeah, man. We both were picking up the presser after the event concluded. Opened with Bayley, women's Royal Rumble winner, and
Which
Cody was out next.
As well.
Right, we definitely
want to talk about that one as well. That's. I have thoughts. They're good thoughts, but thoughts.
And watching the presser is when it really started to feel right. Like it sort of felt right. I was texting my guy Shug. That's the episode prior to this one. It was a power ranking of Rumble winners. There can only be one, but if you had to make the argument for multiple and how would you rank them, that's what we tried to do. And he kicked it off with, we set the table first, then he kicked it off saying, well, we need to start talking because we can't talk about it without talking about Cody. And after he finished, I said, yeah, well, I think that Punk has called his shot with this and that it is a Punk runaway. And both arguments were valid. And essentially, they created their own tier at the top of the Rumble of like, hey, this is the Punk Cody Rumble. And that's what we got at the final two. Those were the first two to declare. And once we got there, I didn't really know which direction. It was a coin flip, kind of. But it did feel like, hey, one of these is going to land better with the crowd. One of these will not. And I was saying pretty much to Sugar, I was like, I don't think that is back-to-back season. Like you said, with all that we've got going on, it doesn't really feel like it. But you look at Cody's last 12 months, he bookended it in the presser where he says, yeah, I got really mad, I lost to Roman. Then I came back and I wiped out Brock Lesnar. I did something.
But I've never seen that Cody before. I've never seen the Cody that we saw in the beginning of that.
Let me tell you,
humble Cody.
Let me talk about myself real quick.
Yeah, he was like, look, I've been here, I've been doing it. Like if you're not on board, that's your fault, not my fault. And it's kind of nice to see. And if we get a little bit of that in kayfabe story leading up to WrestleMania, I think that might be good for the rivalry.
He said more or less, almost verbatim, hey, I'm the guy.
Yeah.
Like me,
By the way, how awesome was Michael Cole's line? Hey, Roman, what inning are we in now? That's such a good line. That is so good.
Straight to recap. It was. I get Cole's props. No, man, it feels completely valid. And if anything, like how I was saying, I don't think it's back-to-back season. This just really stamps how special this guy is right now, man.
Yeah.
We have one of those, like, what Cena did for the longevity that he did is we can't put that expectation on anybody. But for Cody to maybe get a 5-year run, I don't know when we're starting and stopping, but for him to just, this is comparable to where it's like, we're looking at the company. Roman had the table, yes. Last 3 years, the Roman era is sort of wrapping up now. Cody's kind of ran with it now. And it's like, you put the belt on him, you put the 2K cover on him, and everybody, hey, him, he is the guy.
He is. There's no denying it anymore. And that's not to say anything negative towards the head of the table, all respect to my tribal chief, but you're right. I think it is coming to a dramatic conclusion, and that's not a bad thing. We as wrestling fans can get so up in arms about records and numbers and what's important and how long's it been and who's done this and who's done that and legacy. We're all talking about,
we love wrestling
and we think it's great, but at the end of the day, what's always the most important thing is what happened today. We can think back on these things now, but if there was a bad match within the run, that's the thing. And we'll talk a little bit more about this when we talk about the 4-way. But that is the thing about Roman's reign so far, is we easily forget about sort of the lame matches that he had during the thing, which they existed. We talked about SummerSlam. Like, I'm sorry, I don't like the match, but thinking back, it just goes over my head. I don't even think about it because the setup and the promos and the story around it was so fantastic that you kind of forget that the match was lame. Right. And by the way, I think Cody's match against Roman was great. I really do. I think the Mania match was really good until it ended. And even then, like if it all pays off this year, I think that's great. But my point is, what's important about this isn't that, oh, he breaks a record or he does, he becomes one of the most prolific champions of all time, blah, blah, blah. No, what's important is it's leading this era into the most prosperous time the WWE has ever had. They're moving to Netflix. They're reinventing the wheel when it comes to live sports. And all this is done on the back of a really great run from a guy who hasn't had that many great matches. He's had some good matches, but it doesn't matter because at the end of the day, it's what happened right now. So I think as wrestling fans, to kind of bring that long diatribe back into order, I think at the end of the day, what's important is the here and now and what's interesting and what keeps the product going. So do I care if he beats Hulk Hogan's record? I do not. And I don't think it's necessary. And I don't think that it would serve the industry anymore to see him go past WrestleMania with the belt. That's not a knock on him. That's simply that's
I think you're speaking truth.
Facts.
You're speaking truth. And even if I don't want to even fully, like if I'm a guy, if I'm the one that's like, yeah, but I kind of want to see him do it. I like, yeah.
Oh yeah. We all want to see him do it
one more time.
Do we want to wait? That's the question. We all want to see it happen.
At what cost?
Exactly. Because there is going to get a time. There will become a time. You talked about John Cena, and what I think actually, in some ways, Cody surpasses John Cena in, and it's not actually Cena's fault, but it is that he is the goodest of the guys. He is Captain America out there, and he is getting cheered by crowds. That has not never, but that has not happened since the 80s. We had, the biggest guy in the 90s and and the early 2000s, Stone Cold and The Rock, two arguably jerks, at least their characters.
All of the beloved guys needed some sort of edge.
Yeah. They need to be a little rated R.
No, man. And remember, I was telling you one morning, I caught you this week, that I was going to rewatch the Peacock doc on Cody.
Yeah.
Just because I wanted to, because man, and you put a well-written review behind it, but that doc, which feels more like a movie, it's so damn moving that you can watch it right after this Rumble ended and feel like the scenes are kind of just still playing out. Like when it ended, since he didn't beat Roman last year, and the way the doc ends, it felt unfinished.
Mm-hmm. It feels like there's going to be a part 2.
I was telling Suge, man, I was just like, hey, say you don't do Cody yet. The silver lining is that you still have, whenever that guy hoists the belt for the first time, that is going to be a generational moment, really. And we haven't had a babyface victory like that since Daniel Bryan. You can creep Kofi Mania in there. All due respect. Daniel Bryan's was bigger and more, it connected more with everybody. This Cody one will go down with the all-time visuals and just scenes and moments when he hoists that belt. And we got to, it looks like it's on the horizon. Let's not push it any further. I agree. It's time.
Yeah, I think you're dealing with kind of a perfect build, a perfect build right now. And it's going to be up to them. They're going to have to do it over the course of the next, whatever we have, 3 months or so. And they're going to have to work. They're going to have to bring this to a sharp point, because we have seen this already. I don't think it had a chance to get very personal. We had a situation where it kind of felt like they pulled it together very quickly. We didn't have that much time in the ring between Cody and between Roman. We had a very quick promo. We had a series of promos. We had the great Paul Heyman segment where he talked about his dad and everything. And what's great about this main event is it compiles all of this. You really get to put a fine point on everything now. And it's going to be up to them in the next few months to really make that work. And nothing that we've seen from WWE in the last year plus has made me think that they can't pull it off in a way that will leave people with tears at the end of the day. At the end of WrestleMania 40, dude, there may not be a dry eye in the house.
I told you, man. At 39, when I saw him pick his daughter up and that he had tears, and that did it for me. So when he wins the damn thing, the way he was in the press of the night,
dude. If the kids jump in the ring and Brandy's in the ring and oh my god, dude, I'm gonna be hiding my face. I just have that feeling, and they have an opportunity to do this. We had a question when they decided not to pull the trigger. We were like, can they really keep this up? And like I said earlier, we knew this is where it was coming, and they made us doubt ourselves. It's amazing. It's amazing. I have full credit to them.
Shout out to Evan Mack, who I heard in tonight's presser as well, formerly of the Mac Mania podcast. I got to go find where he's at now. I love that guy's work. It's Crockpot Booking.
That is Crockpot
booking. That is not
okay. Let it stew.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is Crockpot work right there. Let
them cook is what you're saying.
Melt it first. Take it in. You know what I'm saying?
Got a gumbo coming up in April. It's gonna be something, man.
Philly's gonna move on.
Yeah.
I want to open it up on the Rumble. But last thing from the presser again, how we were saying, and they asked him about, because like they said, that's dusty territory, which to fans of whatever generation you belong to, you may not have known that.
Yeah.
Myself, not the most familiar with that.
Yeah, I didn't know.
And somebody asked Cody, just, how does it feel to do that here? And, he lives in the shadow of the dream, which he makes as few references to as possible.
Yeah.
Everybody around him does.
It's everybody else. Yeah.
He reiterated that. He's like, man, I can't think about him almost. And I actively don't try to. When I'm here, I'm thinking about my mom. I'm thinking about my daughter, thinking about my wife, and I don't tell them whatever's going on. So it just makes me happy to see them be happy for me. And then I think then I think about the guy, and I'm like, maybe I'll dream about him tonight and tell him, hey, I went on live, hit my move. That's what he would have wanted to hear. And
Cody's got a way with words, man. Cody's got a way with words. He really does. He's got that gift of gab. He really does. It's amazing. And we thought Punk was the greatest talker, maybe of all time. But I have to say, seeing those two in the ring together, Punk did a great job on his part. Cody was right there with him every moment. How is it possible that this man might be underrated?
Yeah, dude. No,
how is it possible? It doesn't make sense.
Wake him up, man.
Yeah,
we'll have time to stew on that.
We got a few months.
Pot's almost done.
What inning are we on?
So let's talk about some other things that happened in the Rumble / how you felt about it. I mean, Gunther had another great run.
Yeah, but man, I'll tell you what, the way they were setting up him and the thing is, we still have a chance. We still have a shot that he takes on Rollins. Now there's,
you know what? I think that Punk not winning in and of itself was another really, really good call, because Monday night was last Monday night's Raw, the promo he had with Cody was just another great snapshot of, hey, you can book this guy with like 7 different people.
Yeah.
That all could tell fantastic stories. So instead of hamstringing yourself to a storyline that attaches him to the title and the champion, you can have now another match on the card that has just as much anticipation from everybody because Punk's going to deliver a good story more than likely. And it won't feel forced. Make him earn that main event, same way Cody's having to earn his title run. So I think that was a good call, and that may open up Seth for Gunther, who seems deserving.
Yeah, no, your point is well received because what you now have is at least 2 pieces of a not a Money in the Bank. That's the wrong gimmick. An Elimination Chamber match that if they do set it up as here are the people that are in it to face Seth at Mania, you have a good chance that you have an Elimination Chamber match with full of people that you go, any one of them could win this. Punk is one of them. Gunther is another one. Drew is another one.
So I'm down for a multi-man for Big Gold at Mania for pretty much this exact reason. So Roman had it tonight, and I think we're going to get to that something didn't knock it out of the park with that match. I don't know if you're going to go there or not. We'll get to it.
Yeah.
But I don't think we doubt at all. And this is the thing with the compromise, Seth, where I said on the last pod, hey, if he's any less than 100, I'd almost rather him see him not wrestle, dude. Like, it's okay, man. Literally, I get it as from an athlete's mindset and performer's perspective. You just never want to not be on that stage when it's the brightest. But when we're picturing these things, we're picturing them with a healthy Seth.
Yeah.
I don't want Seth pushing it just to give us something that we're going to get from Seth countless times again in the future, just because he will deliver. Arguably, there's a chance that you risk that if you rush things here, where we can get a great World Heavyweight Championship match a number of ways.
Yeah.
But I thought Drew looked incredible in the Rumble.
He did.
Not just look at that guy. Like, he's a beast. Like,
he's been great lately, and he looked great. Yeah, he looked great in the Rumble. He looked like the guy who could win it. If he was slightly more in the main event scene right now, he probably could have. But the problem is we're telling more epic stories at the moment than the story of Drew overcoming the stigma of being the pandemic champion.
And talking with Suge, one of my knocks on Drew was that he had already won one. So I was like, I don't want to see him repeat when we have these new things to tell. But that guy looks convincing enough to have been a repeat winner. Rumble's come and gone now.
Yeah.
Guy might need the belt again.
Maybe. And we could be looking at it looked awfully like they were going in the direction of a Sami Zayn pairing for him. And I don't know how much that seems more like a Raw match, but I mean, maybe they were just setting up for Elimination Chamber. Maybe they're putting all these guys who should be in the running for Big Gold together and making them all sort of mix. And as you were saying, crockpot, putting them all in the pot together so that when this whole thing hashes itself out, you have a bunch of competitors in the Elimination Chamber that feel like, oh man, it could be any of them. It would make sense for it to be any of them.
They haven't ruled anybody out yet. I would throw Jey Uso in there.
I would agree with that. Although I think we're obviously heading for an Uso on Uso match.
Hey, that was dope. That was dope when Jimmy's
a
music
great way. Yeah, it was a great way to start the show. To start the Rumble. I loved that.
I think we all envisioned the Spider-Man, ring is kind of loaded, and then eventually they turn around and look at each other.
Yeah.
And for the writers to just say, nah.
No. Well, that's I feel like they've been saving that for a year. I feel like we've known this is another one. We've known for a year.
Right. And what I really appreciate is that they've kept them distant, and even doing them 1 versus 2, it wasn't overdone tonight, in my opinion.
No.
Like, I don't remember. I thought maybe they were going to do like hey, should we work together, or one comes back to burn the other. Like, they didn't overdo it. It was just enough for us to be like, "Ooh, finally!"
Yeah, this is something. This is coming. We're going to actually see this happen, and that's got to be half the battle for them, is like peppering in these little teases for things that they're going to bring in at Mania, and not overplaying them. Because if we feel like we already saw it, then we're not going to pop for it. But I don't feel like we saw it tonight.
I've got two more names to mention from my Rumble highlights, and feel free, you can throw something else in there.
Sure.
It wasn't a knock your socks off Rumble.
No, I don't think it was the best Rumble I've ever seen, but wasn't the worst.
Right. It wasn't a dissatisfying Rumble.
No, I was pleased.
Yeah, I can. It'll hold for 12 months. This one should.
Yeah.
Bron Breakker.
I'll tell you what, there was the little portion, they like to portion out Manias into, this was the part. It's like maybe the first act was the Uso violence, and then after that,
Manias, but right.
Rumble. I'm sorry, yeah, my bad.
Yep. For the record,
I feel like there was the meat portion as well. Like, at some point, almost come out and almost okay. I actually really like him, and he grew on me. I didn't like him at first. I like him. That stupid hood. He looks like he needs a guide dog when he comes out like that, and I don't like it. And he needs
like
to
his crop hoodie.
You mean, like, if you do this, it's like, oh, well, how? Like, he's looking at the floor. Like, he's looking at the floor, going, okay, don't hit anything. I thought it was silly, but anyway, from around that point, and then they brought in Bronson, just basically all the meat. Bron. What's his name? The Viking.
There's one more. Yeah, there's Ivar.
There was
also who threw out one of the guys single-handedly.
Didn't. Oh, was it not Gunther?
One more giant.
Didn't Gunther do it?
Mentioning.
Oh, I don't remember now. Well, Bron was who we were originally talking about. I thought he was a little bit a part of that. Yeah, didn't Bron throw out somebody? Like,
he might have, but Bron's lumped him in there as well, though.
It was Meat Mania. It was big beefy boys slapping meat, and it was
Giants that they do have. They didn't do the 7-on-1 spot in the men's match, at least. Like, Giants to take each other out, which was kind of cool.
Yeah. No, I was into that. They avoided some of the Rumble stereotypes this year, which I thought was cool. I missed
Kofi,
some of them.
You're out of here.
Yeah, and they need to start doing that, because I feel like expectations are on him to always perform, and Kofi ain't getting any younger. And all respect to my guy, but
over the rope, man.
I mean, dude, Kofi's great, but he doesn't always have to do gymnastics for us. Like, he can just be the guy, I was a little weird that I didn't know Woods throughout the whole thing. But I mean, they had enough people,
Andrade's back. That wasn't my second name.
Andrade's back.
Bron too. You can tell that folks were tuned in, because unless it's not even a direct Steiner correlation, and if you're in the crowd, you don't know that that's his son automatically. But the dog barking, the wolf chants were thing.
Yeah,
and Bron
people knew
leading them. Like,
no,
they were just popcorning from the crowd every time he ripped the spear off. And we've been talking about this. I love NXT. That guy is main roster ready.
Yeah, he is. He's there. He's not going to be main roster for a while, I don't think.
Let it work. Probably,
and I've never heard him on the mic. Well, I have heard him on the mic, but I haven't heard him be super great on the mic. But I'm sure he can get there. It'll take some time, and not everybody's ready made, but he's got it,
His
which is good.
Package is going to for sure carry him.
Yeah,
he needs to evolve that. I was telling Suge, big dumb job doesn't work for everybody. It can get him easily to second base. You know what
Oh
I
yeah.
mean? Like,
Oh yeah.
it's just look at the guy. You know,
He's done a lot of the work already too, building that character and sort of developing it. The fact that he's not Braun Steiner is pretty brave. Like you could definitely make a lot. I mean, you know, Cody, you know, he's a Rhodes, and whether he uses it or not, it's there. He's not, you know, Braun is Breakker.
Random aside, on SmackDown, I noticed that I'm actually blanking on her name in NXT because she hasn't been on NXT since she left the group she was in. But The Rock's daughter was next to Aldis for those number drawings in the gold.
Wasn't she named
bucket.
NXT's GM?
Okay, did I miss something?
Well, I think that happened on NXT. I didn't watch NXT. I'm only going off of things that I heard, but I think she was named NXT's GM. Okay. If you smell it.
I did overhear something on the show talking about youngest general manager. And I thought they might have been talking about all this. So, okay, cool. I remember hearing that, literally not seeing the screen at the time. So that would make sense while she was there.
I don't know that for sure. I'd like to look that up because I might sound like an idiot, but I thought that's what I understood. I thought I read that somewhere. And it's interesting because it's interesting. Maybe they see more talent in her as a personality than a wrestler, you know, potentially.
I think there's the potential is there almost regardless because you know who she is. She looks like her dad.
She does
stands
look like
out amongst the women's roster. So
when she was out there
the pressure
on SmackDown, to go be
world champion, like, hey, let's turn her into something and let it develop.
Yeah, she could do a lot of things. She's got it in the blood. So I'm telling you, it's. I don't think it's gonna be Bloodline though. I really don't. I think Bloodline's probably gonna be.
That's probably fine.
I think by the time she gets the main roster, Bloodline will be way out the door.
Last name from the Men's Rumble, and this is me forcing it probably, but just to have the question asked again. What's the ceiling for Dom Mysterio? Is it world champion? And he can wrestle another decade or so. So if that, if we're talking just big picture, of course the answer, I don't know. Maybe one day. But like legitimately. Like I know his appearance may need work to convince people. But when we're talking about heels and character work and just guys that check a certain box in professional wrestling.
To quote one of my favorite movies, a movie called Mean Girls, the limit does not exist. He is just one of the best heels they've got going. And I'm sure he tries very hard at it. He doesn't have to. He just presents himself in a way that is he's got a punchable face, as Kevin Owens might say. He's got what I think my guy Austin Theory wishes he had. Because to me, Theory it's almost like when Dom and Nick, both of them, when they were faces, I'm sorry, when Dom was a face and people were sort of sick of him, he had that natural thing that was making the crowd hate him because we just don't like you, even though you're a baby face. Yeah. Austin Theory, I think,
still look punchable.
Austin Theory has this bad guy persona that he's trying to put on, and I think the crowd, personally, deep down inside, is just like, dude, you're cool. What are you doing? Like you're trying so hard to make us hate you. You're all right. I feel like we've got opposite things here, except one got the opportunity to turn heel and the other one has not had an opportunity to turn face yet.
So what's the answer? So I guess you did answer. You said the limit does not exist.
I think he could be, I think what you want to do, honestly, is give him, and maybe not next year, because I think we're going to be kind of burned next year from this gimmick, but I think at some point giving him the Money in the Bank would be a fantastic move.
I said it going into last year, and I think that's
I
would
think it
have
would
been
have been a better
premature.
move.
But
No, I
right,
think it would have been
it's
better.
like,
I think it would have been better.
dude,
This Money in the Bank run
I
has been absolutely dramatic. And if you'll let me monologue on this for 1 second, because Seth's injury prolongs this to the infinity. There is no chance that he is going to cash in while Seth is injured. And Seth has said in the ring that he's not going to defend, or that he will defend at Mania, which means he won't be ready until Mania, which means there won't be another cash in opportunity for him until Mania, because we know the tribal chief isn't going to wrestle on SmackDown. We know they're not going to, so
the only way they could is if Seth is just out there. Because I agree with you. It's unlikely, and they've set the road for there not to be one.
yeah.
You could still, if Seth is just out there running his mouth one day, wrong time, wrong place, he gets jumped, cash in on him. And then you
Yeah, but
probably
is he
get that
going to
belt
win?
off of him. Yeah, you could. And then you just put him in a match that he has 0% chance of winning in at WrestleMania, and he doesn't win, and he loses it. But at least he got the
Yeah, but
belt.
what a
You know what I
boring
mean?
match. What a waste
I
of a
know.
title,
But I'm thinking that could be the multi-man gimmick. If just throwing out
Yeah,
that
maybe.
between now and Mania, if you write it that way, you could just. But either way, it's sunken value, and it's
Oh, yeah.
you're dealing with a loss of what you invested.
Yeah. Anyway, it's what's happened with this year's Money in the Bank has been, it almost makes me not want to see a Money in the Bank next year. It almost makes me want to just pick another gimmick, skip it, don't do this. We don't need it. Let something else happen, because the
This will make
briefcase,
3 consecutive, maybe 4 of just this isn't what this is supposed to do.
right.
You had Miz steal it from Otis. You
Oh,
had right, and then win it
yeah.
for a week, and then give the belt to Bobby. You
Oh,
had
right. I forgot about that. Yeah.
you had Theory strike out and then unsuccessfully cash in on the U.S. title.
It was the sort of primordial goo of what's happening this year. I don't know what they saw about Theory's run and thought, "Hey, let's do that again." But that's exactly what they've done. They've done it again. And so I don't know. I almost want to see him just like I kind of wanted to see him just fail to cash in and put it out of our brains, because it ain't happening. It's
but that is very damning to the briefcase.
It is, but it's nobody's fault except the bookers, and I'm sure they didn't see it going this way. I'm sure there was a thought that they'd do something else, at some point, but whatever it was has gone by the wayside now.
Let's go all the way in reverse, and I'll let you run a little bit with KO and Logan, because I haven't watched the match bell to bell yet. You know my stance on Logan. I think he's mage.
Yeah, for sure.
And
I will tell you,
the Nux gimmick, which I think is actually kind of cool too. Gives him
I think
a
so
good
too.
heel rub of, you know what, damn it, you didn't win that, but you did win it. People can be mad.
Yeah. This is what. So this match, I'll be honest with you, this was a come down match, because they top loaded that card, and it really wasn't fair to them to put him out where they did, but it was kind of the only place you could put him out. With that said,
beats the pre-show.
They did it. They had a good match. It was fine. It didn't blow my ears back or anything like that, but it was fine. You're right. They did the Nux thing. If this is all building towards LA Knight and Logan at Mania, that's fine. But this is going to be forgettable, and it's just another match where KO comes out the loser, and man, I just feel like that guy barely ever gets to be. He barely ever gets to win. Not, and I don't mean that in the sense of like wins and losses. I mean it in a sense of winning an angle. When's the last time he won a rivalry? I mean, I guess it was probably the tag team with the Usos. That was kind of the last time that he won a rivalry. When was the last time that?
He'll get his comeuppance. Him and Sami Zayn, I remember and reflect that, they renewed at the same time. And it was, I want to say, like the year leading up into what was just fantastic years for them.
Yeah.
With Sammy working the bloodline, KO got the Austin spot. They came back together. So they, they've reaped some fruits on this current contract and proven themselves to just be stable hands.
Yeah.
But I hear you.
But I feel like any story we ever get with KO just ends in KO losing, and for some reason everybody just thinks, it seems like the bookers believe like, oh, he can absorb it, and he does, to their credit, like he does. But boy, I'd like to see a strong KO angle where he is the real babyface and he comes out the winner, and we can just cheer for him beating someone up. So that's why I'm a little underwhelmed by this. I never once thought that KO was going to win that match, but they went out there, they were entertaining, they did their best, and they told a story, and it was, I guess it was more forgettable than anything, and I want more for KO. Logan came out looking fine because he's the dastardly heel that we're looking for. It built him towards what's going to be a Mania defense that hopefully builds, I think, LA Knight to a place where he can have gold and hopefully build him closer to a main event spot where he can maybe win the big belt one day.
I think that this match served the purpose of advertisement again, and sort of connecting this to the Netflix deal. On the Suge episode, we also talked about this, but this is a week where we could spend 5 hours talking about wrestling.
Oh, I know.
With all the news.
I actually love wrestling.
No, dude, when you think about it, it's great.
This is gimmick infringement. This is another podcast we're stealing from. But I can relate to it,
it's a common denominator. That we share.
It's something you could say. What's funny about it, and I'll make this really quick, but like what's funny about
that this existed, he'd be happy. Him being
I would think so. And the thing about I love wrestling is great, is you say it in the best of times and the worst of times. When things are really bad, you're just like, I love wrestling. Wrestling is great. Even when it doesn't go well, you guess
wrestling is great, but I love
it's really, it can be an exclamation of disappointment as well. You're like, it's almost a self mantra, like, I love wrestling. Wrestling is great. Keep convincing yourself.
The one note on the Netflix deal that we'll probably talk about on here, because I'm bringing it up, is that somebody I listened to in the past week said that World Wrestling Entertainment doesn't do a lot of promo. For as many events that they do, as just pervasive as they are in the public eye, you don't see a ton of ads. You see the ads when the video game is out. Go buy the game. And, Mania makes a good run every year. But outside of that, you only get the billboards in your city when they're coming to town. And, some low-level ads here and there. One facet of this Netflix deal is that, and we've all, kind of understood this now that it's been announced and making it make sense, is that the millions and millions of people that have Netflix accounts will now open their account, hear the da-dum, and in one way or another, WWE Raw is going to be shown to them forward facing, whether they are a lapsed fan, current fan, never heard of wrestling. So it's a form of advertising that it's like passive income of, you're going to hear about us. You're going to see us and be tempted to click it because it's going to say live as well at one point or another. And then you're going to see the live.
Knowing Netflix, there's a really good shot that you open up your Netflix, and you know how it plays previews when you open it up. It'll just cut in live and start showing you what's happening on Raw.
They're going to drive this puppy.
Oh, yeah.
So as well. Yeah.
I mean, they put enough money into it. They have no reason not to.
So with the 4-card Royal Rumble, which is, even in the era of men's and women's Rumble matches, this is the thinnest it's been, to highlight, hey, Logan Paul who you just may or may not have heard of. He's on our roster and he's a champion. So just he's on this card. He's not like his name is on this card when there's only 7 or 8 names on this card, and then women's Royal Rumble, men's Royal Rumble. So I think that was another just like, hey, let's make this prominent and not diminish what we have, and try and make it a point to do something and make it go forward. But
yeah,
right, the match was a means to an end, and drove the story, and
it's okay. They needed 4 matches, not 3.
I'm here with you. I'll root for KO going forward.
Yeah.
I'm on the make KO great again. I'm here for it. The 4-way.
Yeah.
Roman Reigns, Randy Orton, LA Knight, and AJ Styles. All guys who had some claim to the belt or wanting a piece of Roman right now. And it happened.
It happened. That's probably the best way to describe that match. It happened. So I'll say this.
There's a bit of pressure on these guys to try and knock it out because Roman hasn't had a 5-star, and it sort of felt like as it was playing out, that's not exactly what we're going to get.
No, and this is when we talk about the Roman Reigns saga coming to an obvious conclusion. I think tonight it was just as evident as it ever has been. They called up the playbook, man. It was the same playbook that we saw at SummerSlam. We've seen at every defense that he's had. And not that, I mean, it's a good playbook. It's carried the last 1,000 and whatever days, but he comes out, he always looks shocked when he gets hit for the first time. And then at some point when you think he's at his worst, somebody comes out, usually Solo at this point, but whoever comes out, attacks, gives Roman the lead, as it were. It's never quite the finish of the match. Like Roman always has to spear somebody or Superman punch or something like that. And then 1, 2, 3, and it's over. And the formula has worked for this long. So I'm not going to speak too ill of the formula. I will simply say that they have gone back to the formula maybe one too many times. And I was tired of it. I am tired of it. But like we said earlier, these matches, these defenses are not what makes Roman, the GOAT. It's not what makes Roman so great and how he has held the belt for this long. It's not the matches. It's the stories. It's the promos. It's how he interacts. It's we like to see that guy on TV.
Going back to the well.
It's the what he presents in the ring is not why we're still watching. It's not why it hasn't gone stale. It's it's the Paul Heyman of it all. It's the tribal chief swagger, the attitude. So basically what I'm saying is I think
the graphic,
the music, the intro, the throwing the ones in the air because everybody loves doing it. It's the sing along, not literally sing along, but throwing the ones I consider like the call and repeat thing. It's all of that. That's what makes Roman. When we look back on this time, there are going to be a small handful of matches that we remember as the great matches, and we will forget the rest of them. And I think that's fine because, quite frankly, you look back on Hulk Hogan and there aren't a whole lot of matches you remember because dude's not the best worker in the world. He was not the most exciting person in the ring. He was an exciting figure. And Roman, I think, has a similarity there. So with all that to say, this match I thought was back to the well, same old thing. And I'll forget about it by Friday. And if our tribal chief decides he wants to show up on SmackDown, I'm going to cheer for him. I'm going to mark out for him because he's great. He's great. His matches are not great. At least they haven't been recently. They can be, and they will be again. I believe it. I believe that he'll pull out a great Mania match. but we've just at this point got to get over the fact that these matches are not, they're fine. They're telling stories. That's what it is. But it was back to the well. But I'm just tired of speaking ill of it because it's the means to the end. And if I'm going to watch on Friday because the tribal chief is going to show up, if I'm going to watch whenever because Roman's going to be there, does it matter if it was the greatest match of all time? Does it matter if he went out there and tears his 4th MCL or whatever during a match? No, we don't want that. We want him to stick around. So as I'm over it, I'm over the bad matches at this point. I don't care. But I definitely won't be looking forward to his match. I might at Mania, but if like he's not going to have another match before Mania, so I don't have to worry about it. It's not the most exciting thing on the card anymore because it's just back to the well.
No, I got into a minor Twitter spat with with an avatar profile not too long ago.
Yeah.
Where I was just trying to relay the fact that the guy is box office. It doesn't matter whether or not a lot of what you voiced.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still going to love the guy. Don't care that I don't love the matches really anymore. As long as we can end this on time before you've just really burned me. The guy doesn't like Roman. I said, hey, did you forget that he is a heel? So
yeah, that's a good point.
That's working.
Yeah.
Everything below him is working, and a byproduct of that, or a reason that's even able to exist, is because he doesn't destroy his body in this reign. You can count on him to be there because he is wrestling few and far between. But hey, it's safe. It's got it done. When you're talking though, it did make me think, man, what are my favorite Roman matches? And like you said, a lot of them actually predate the 1,000 days.
Yeah.
Of the current reign, I think that the first defense against Daniel Bryan and Edge was a really good match.
Mm-hmm.
I do
Mania.
think that the Cody match. Yeah. I do think that the Cody match was really good.
He shows up on Mania.
I like the original Brock match too. So yeah.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
I keep the record going.
Honestly, I think his Jey Uso match, was. Yeah, I mean it was fine. The even the Thunderdome Uso stuff.
Yeah, that was good stuff. That was good stuff.
Yeah. I know nobody wants to remember the Thunderdome, including myself, but
the last man standing match, that was Mage.
Was that KO?
No. Oh well, I think he did have one with him. The one with Brock.
Oh, the Brock one, the lift the ring
match.
The one where he caught the mic. Oh my God.
That match was made.
That man would go into the Hall of Fame just for catching the mic and then winking at Brock. Oh my God, dude, you are the guy. He caught the mic and he looked at Brock Lesnar and winked at him. Oh my God, dude, he is Super Saiyan at this point. It's incredible.
And before the reign,
but that's a moment. Once again, I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but that match, I remember two things. I remember the forklift or whatever it was, the backhoe or whatever it was. I remember him catching the mic, and I remember them burying him under the barriers and the announce tables, and that's how he won. That's all I remember about that match. Was anything else? The Roman creates great moments, and at this point, I think I'm fine with that.
And it's the little things that he's great at. It's the facial expressions that he's like mastering.
Yes.
The demeanor, like you said, the swagger.
Yeah.
He's box office.
He is. You're not gonna tell me that he's gonna wrestle 5 stars, and I don't really care, to be honest with you. Here's a brief aside. I think about someone like MJF, who does go out there and does his best to wrestle 5 stars, and he had this great story going with Adam Cole. And what happens? Because they're both out there trying to wrestle 5-star matches. Cole blows up his foot or whatever it was, his ankle, and MJF tears his labrum, was it his shoulder or something like that? They're both out, and now the end of that, which was an amazing story that was going on, the end of that story ends up falling flat because neither one of them can work anymore. you've got Cole in the ring with a cast on his ankle.
At what cost?
At what cost? Would we have rather seen maybe one less 5-star match, or maybe a bunch of 4-star matches instead, and kept them around to tell the story? In my opinion, yes, because MJF and Adam Cole are both absolutely great. And unfortunately, things happen.
With him and Danielson, that did a number on both of them, did it not?
Oh yeah, man. Yeah, and we saw the one at Double or Nothing in person, the 4-way, or as he would say, the greatest 4-way of all time. It's those things get heavy and they start weighing on these guys.
It's like, you can't sell this is going to be the best match you'll ever see time and time again. Not that MJF really tries that, but when you know that that's what you're shooting for, Roman never tries to sell you that.
Right. And you know what you're getting. You're buying into
me for this reason.
Right. You're paying for Peacock for story, not for necessarily the best in-ring material you've ever seen in your life. Although, and sometimes they do it. But I feel like when you have moments, you have a moment like last year in the Royal Rumble where Ricochet and Logan Paul jump at each other and slam together in midair, right? Amazing moment. But the problem is there are these people who are trying to do 16 of those moments in one match per night, and it's just no way to live. And then you start, your eyes glaze over to it. Like, how many 450 splashes can you see before you just start going, okay, you hit the 450 splash. Great.
Eventually, you get guys drinking blood, which
they would never do that. They would never do that.
No, it's like, Jesus, they went there.
Yeah, Dr. Acula over there is not my favorite wrestling gimmick.
Some Roman 5-stars I will shout out, though. Shield triple threat. I mean, Shield 6-man with the Wyatt family. Oh, okay. Chef's kiss. That he was just a part of, at least.
Sure.
Shield triple threat. Prior to that, I will say him versus Seth one-on-one, the rebuild, redesign, reclaim, whatever the shirt said. Seth
gotcha.
And Dean cashed in. That was a great match. When Roman first got the belt after Mania, where he beat Triple H, who did he beat? Did he beat Triple H for the belt? I believe so. His first defenses were back-to-back against AJ Styles.
Okay.
It was great. First match was a straight singles match. Fantastic. Second one was like a false count anywhere, a no DQ. They battled around the crowd. Like, it was like a backlash. And then
you have a better memory of all this than I do.
Right. No, and this is going, predate. Just to shout out, because, man, it makes me think, when you were saying that, I was like, you know what? I am ranking matches, a lot of his Shield, post-Shield, big dog stuff ahead of the table stuff.
Yeah.
But they're two different things.
Yeah.
That have to be graded differently.
And gosh, I feel like, real throw up your ones guys out there are going to think that I'm being negative, because absolutely, like, Roman can go.
I'm one of those
There's
guys.
No question. Well, no, I know, but there's no question Roman can go. He just doesn't. And I'm fine with that. I think what we've got is fine. And this is really something that I've come to recently, because I used to be like, oh, but the matches are just so underwhelming and everything. Yeah, okay, but that's not what we're here for. We're here for the swagger.
World battles with, I might not be able to do this anymore.
Yeah.
I've got kids. I've got a wife. I've got a family. I've got what to think about the future, whole thing. Like, so it's like, he represents that.
Yeah.
Looking forward to it. I will put the over-under of Roman matches from now until Mania at 1.5. And because I'm an over better, I'll take the over. So give me
win.
2. I know. I don't know.
He's not going to be in Perth because
with just one match. So over half is too easy of a bet as an odds maker. I got to set the odds at 1.5.
Wait, you're saying one before Mania? So we're not counting Mania.
No. Matches until April, whatever.
What is the one?
I know. I don't know.
Like some SmackDown?
I'm glad this made me Matt, glad this brought this back to memory. But as you were saying, and this doesn't devalue your point or even arguing it, what you could say is that them repeating this time and time again, what it is building to, and this could be woven in during the Mania build, how you said last year we didn't get a lot of Cody Roman face-to-face and physical and all this and that. We may get more this time or not, but I think we will get more bloodline dissension this time leading up, which we've already had seeds of. But all of this Solo saving his ass will build to when Solo puts his thumb in the Roman's throat.
Yeah.
Pause. But like, all of this happening will make when Solo inevitably says screw you, like it will make it hit, because it's like, dog, think about it. He bought you 18 months of that reign, at least, from Clash of the Castle 22 until now. It's like, dude, Solo's been right there, big dog. No pun intended.
Well, I also think, and now I've shared with you my thesis that I'll be working on at some point, where I compare the MCU, the Infinity Saga, to what we've just seen in WWE over the last few years. And hey, here's the thing.
I love that concept. That's so
if this
far-fetched.
ties in, this is absolutely hilarious. But if this ties in, remember, the Avengers fought Thanos. And they lost. Something you never thought the Avengers were going to do. They lost, and they lost bad. They lost so bad. And it took that for them to come back and have one more stare down with Thanos and elimination of the entire universe. And the Avengers won. Specifically, Iron Man won. So if we're doing parallels here, guess what? We're in the end game now, baby.
Woo!
I'm kind of proud of myself about that.
I'm glad we got all of that. I will make you stretch that no further.
There's a lot of depth to it, and there's a lot of parallels, and it's very nerdy.
That's trademarked, by the way, guys. Justin Walker will be handling that.
Well, this is it is
anywhere. Sports.
Don't
even think about
SIAI, not writing that.
No. WrestleNomics, Wrestle Talk.
Yeah, it's gonna be definitely What Culture, possibly WrestleLamia might decide to pull it out.
All of you guys.
Here are 10 reasons that the Bloodline saga is exactly like the Infinity Saga. First, like, share, and subscribe.
At least I know they're listening if that comes up.
That'd be amazing. Yeah, actually, it might be more flattering than anything.
Let's talk about the Women's Rumble.
Let's talk about the Women's Rumble, because I'll be honest with you, I thought it was pretty great.
My guy Solomon Monster, who I tell you, I think is like he's like my the bar, sort of, for, like, in my opinion, like, objective.
The bar.
We are the bar. Thumbs out.
Yep.
Did you thumb Claudio?
I didn't. I was dropping so many inside jokes on him from Uno that it was like, by the end, dude knew I was actually a fan, because I was dropping stuff that he's like he had to know. There's no way this guy knows this stuff without actually having watched it
in real time. There we go.
Yeah.
Solomon Monster, one of his tweets, he was at the event tonight, and he said that this was the greatest, all caps, Women's Rumble match they've ever done. I know he doesn't throw stuff out there like that.
Last year was pretty good.
Right. Or without believing it. So it's going to have to marinate. I think we've talked about this a little bit on the episode with Suge. I mentioned how the Women's Rumble storyline, we're getting the Batista Rumble win storyline. We're getting essentially thumbs up, thumbs down. Bayley, I pulled it off. You guys want me to go after the other champ. Right. Cool. Yeah, let's all be champ. Nah, matter of fact. And
Do you think we're going that way?
Listen, same way Batista did. We're going way back. I'm listening in the locker room. Champ's back there talking trash. Like, yeah, he's not going to do it. She's not going to do it. Blah, blah, blah. Oh, really? Oh, you think so? All right, now I got something for you. I said that was Bayley's story this year for Mania. And she won.
She won.
She wasn't pleased that her comrades were out there, but it didn't work to her detriment. They also didn't make her win it.
Which, by the way, can I just say, I feel like there was more to that didn't get to happen. Something weird happened there when I forget who was it.
Oh, well, we had Kairi Sane dangling with her heels on the apron.
Was it Sane?
Like they actually wanted to keep her in.
Yeah.
She wasn't able to. She
sold
it well.
It didn't pay off.
And was just like, "Hey, I'm out."
Yeah.
And then Asuka out kind of.
Asuka got exactly immediately after. And I guess my question is, was there more that was going to come from that? Because there was the whole story with like, what are you doing here? You know, it was the surprise of like, why are you in this match as well? Yeah, so it makes me wonder.
They didn't really close what that was supposed to be.
No, they didn't cash that. They didn't cash that check. So
like deliberately enough.
Yeah.
But
so I do wonder if there was a mistake there. If maybe she wasn't supposed to go out at that point and they had to abandon that story because of it.
And to all of the workers' credit, this thing that we're pointing out was not to the match's detriment.
Not at all. No. In fact, I'm not even 100% sure that it was a mistake. I don't know for sure.
That's an in the weeds observation.
Yeah. Yeah. It worked out fine. And it's funny you bring up the Batista thing because I kind of wonder if she's going to get betrayed and then that's going to lead her to challenge. Instead of something's going to happen. They've been the whole storyline with Damage Control seems to be based around Bayley being part of sort of like she's kind of on the outs. She's not as she's not getting the respect of the leader that she thinks she should. So I guess my question is when this whole thing happens, are we talking about Bayley as the person who kind of takes advantage of this, like here's something like you were saying with Batista, where here's something and knows that they don't take her seriously and then decides, okay, well, fine, I'm coming for you then? Or is she going to be the victim in the situation and go, well, okay, you guys want to betray me, then guess who I'm coming for?
Yeah, no. And the other evolution angle was when Randy beat He Who Shall Not Be Named to become youngest world heavyweight champion of all time in the celebration for him on Raw. Hey, Batista, lift him up, put him on your shoulders. We're so happy for you, kid.
Yeah.
Psych.
Yep.
Drops him off the shoulders, just like, hey, you're not supposed to, no, you're not that. So I could see them celebrating her and then just psych, kind of.
Could be.
I think they're similar.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of similarity there, no question.
I feel like every time Dakota Kai goes and tells Bayley, hey, what they're saying is she not lying to her every time she goes over? And then they're like straight up another Mean Girls reference. Are they not like just saying in another language something despicable about her?
I didn't think about that. So the problem with that, and that would be amazing. The problem with that is I think some of maybe the Japanese audience would have caught on to that. Wouldn't we have had a translation already or something where they're like
somebody would have come on and said that, hey, she just said that they hate Bayley.
Right. I think we would be maybe not. I don't know, but it's an interesting point. But I mean, I think you're right. I think we're getting some.
I'm like, they didn't say that.
Right. Yeah. No, for sure. I think we're getting some sort of variation of the Batista story. I think you're right.
Dakota Kai knows Japanese.
Apparently. I mean, why? Who are you to doubt her? Maybe, I don't know. I don't know what she does in her free time.
I don't know what her ethnicity is. I don't know how traveled she is, but I'm just saying, like.
Right. Yeah. No, it is. That's curious. That'd be really funny if they come in and in the the run up to Mania, they're just like, look, here are all them. It's almost like the trial of Sami Zayn. It's like the trial of Damage Control. We're like, look what she was actually saying at the time. She's like, we're gonna, as soon as we don't need her anymore, we're gonna kick her out of this club. And you're like, that's what you were saying?
Japanese? Then how have you been telling me this stuff all the time?
She's like, first off, I've been speaking Dutch, you racist. It's
This is hour 2 of the pod.
Are we seriously in hour 2 right now?
I mean, second hour.
Holy cow.
Yeah, we hit this is SmackDown. We hit 10 p.m. already.
Wow. Let's not go full Raw, okay?
No. We're in the end. On the episode with Suge, we did our power rankings, all men's Rumble, and then I had 3 kicker questions for him, sort of rumor mill stuff. One was, are we getting Mercedes? The last one was, what's up with Jade? And he brought up good stuff of them assessing where Jade Cargill was with her in-ring stuff when they got her, and maybe saying, let's take our time. I think everybody's a Jade Cargill fan. I haven't met anybody that doesn't like Jade Cargill.
Oh yeah.
I am stoked for what she can become in ring, because I see the hunger there. Like, I see the interest in wanting to be good. And remember I told you I watched the China doc.
Yeah.
That's on Peacock. And it wasn't a WWE product.
The A&E one?
Something maybe. The only active wrestler in that documentary is Jade Cargill.
Oh, wow.
This was while she was under AEW's umbrella still, under contract there.
Wow.
So I guess, they actively didn't want any WWE wrestlers to be a part of it. Who knows, however, went part of that, went into that. What I saw watching that, because she spoke on it, was that, this girl's a wrestling fan. She was China, that was an inspiration to her.
Yeah.
To the physique, to wanting to wrestle, everything. You just, blaze a trail, so to speak. So I think that she is 100% where she needs to be. Yep. I think that Triple H gets what should and ideally will be done for her to build her properly, or so, or who knows what. This was a great night one.
I'll be honest with you. I think she already looked sharper in the ring. I think she already looks better.
Did you see a clip of her at the Performance Center circulating on social media?
It's been a while. It's been, in the last couple of weeks? No.
Shows posted one, and I commented. I said, "Oh, brother." I said her.
She's doing the work.
I said she's gonna hit like Brock in 02.
Something like that, yeah.
Possibly. Like, you won't be able to keep her out of the main event scene in the women's division.
Yeah. Well, I think, and who knows, I've thought this for literally months now, but I think she's heading for a Nia feud at Mania.
She might have squashed it night one. That might be like her introductory feud
to
the Mania feud.
Yeah.
Which might have to be Bianca. I'm not seeing a Bianca title picture.
Interesting. They looked more competitive in the ring together than I thought they were going to. I didn't know their sizes and everything really, but like, Bianca is can look eye to eye with her. She's not
a unit, man.
Yeah, dude, for sure, dude.
Respectfully, no.
I mean, it would be disrespectful if you held back that term. Yes, I think it's well deserved. Yeah, it's one of those things that I think. I thought they were building it with the irresistible force thing. I thought they were building that. I thought they were going to call her the immovable object or something. And it was going to be they were going to make that sort of thing happen. Maybe that's not where they're going, but I think Nia is a good start for her, and I think she's, I think we saw a little bit of that. Did she have her Andre the Giant moment with her?
She did.
She
slammed Andre over. She did the Claudio.
She did do the Claudio. Yeah.
It
was
after throwing her on her shoulders, AA style,
oh yeah.
That's why I say I feel like they already nipped that in the bud.
Dude,
like,
she's yeah. Maybe we're talking about Chamber for that. That's possible.
Right. Exactly. Not that she'll handle Nia, but when it comes down to it, she can handle Nia like not like none of the other women can currently. Maybe Rhea, but we're not hot shotting her versus Rhea. That's probably Becky.
I don't want to give that a year. No, let that cook, because let it stick it in the crock pot. Like those two are gonna have, if they ever get time to make a rivalry, those two are they're gonna cook, and I can't wait.
To further the analogy, Brock debuted the night after Mania 02 after Goldberg and Brock walked out. I'm lying. What am I talking about? It's the same guy I'm talking about.
I was gonna say Goldberg and Brock.
What happened at Mania that year? I'm not going back now.
Was that are you thinking about the year he debuted?
Yeah, Mania that year I think was X7 or was X.
Wasn't X7? No,
X8. It was X8.
I'm trying to remember what that would have been.
Was that
X7 was Rock. So 17 was Rock and Stone Cold. 18 was
18 was Rock Hogan.
No, that was wasn't that? No, you're right. 18 was Rock Hogan. You're right. So that was Jericho Triple H.
Yeah.
Because 19 was Brock and Kurt.
And then the final Rock Austin.
Oh yeah, as in the mid card, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. X8, yeah. Oh, so anywho, Rock debuted the next night, slammed the hell out of I think Spike Dudley and like Jeff Hardy and somebody else.
Spike Dudley. A lovable lunatic.
Won the King of the Ring in like another month or two. He beat Hulk Hogan on SmackDown with a bear hug a couple weeks after that. They wanted to do the match with Brock and Austin, and that's what made Austin walk out, I believe.
Yeah, because he was going to.
They were like, hold on.
Well, we don't know. We assumed they were going to squash him.
Right? He's like, hold on. What the hell? You got this kid beating all these. You're doing this on TV. What are we doing?
Yeah.
Anywho, by SummerSlam 02, he beat Rock for the belt. So, I think that if you just can't wait and you got to get Jade some action by SummerSlam, I'm here for it. There's sort of a precedent.
I think that makes sense.
Along the way, I would not be shocked.
Well, my prediction is SummerSlam is going to feel a heck of a lot bigger this year. I think this year SummerSlam was a little bit of a lull, and not to take anything away from the Tribal Chief, but I just think the fact that we all knew this championship's not changing hands.
Not this way.
It brings it down. Yeah, you can't. You can only build so much. If you kind of know the ending. Yeah,
but no, man, she was stellar. That was stellar. Minor point.
She looked great.
Her keeping the music, just cool. It's one of those things where you don't know. Like when Cody was coming back, it's like, is he going to keep? We don't know.
Yeah, well, I think we kind of thought there was no chance, really, especially with Cody.
Right, we just didn't know.
Yeah.
And with Jade, her music is fire. So it's very good that I think that she kept it.
I liked the presentation. I liked everything about her. She looked sharp in the ring. When she got eliminated, it was not, it felt like she could have actually won that thing, and that's saying something.
Got down to the wire where, it was like she might point to the sign.
To me, that was a Cody last year at Rumble performance, except without the win at the end of it. Like we saw, okay, we got a star.
And the ending was done very well. How you said they didn't rely on tropes. They didn't do a Final Four in the women's match of everybody sitting in the corner.
They didn't really do it in the men's either. Not really.
They did the Final Six in the men.
Yeah.
They faced off and sort of all took a side,
What's that say to you about the roster? Think about that. Yeah. Because the final six were they were so epic that you could do that. Oh, it's amazing.
It was Sammy, Jay, Drew, Gunther, Punk, and Cody. That's not your champion.
Every one of them
who were in the championship match.
Every one of them could wrestle a WrestleMania main event.
Also wasn't Seth Rollins. Like, you know.
Also not Seth Rollins, yeah.
Mage. And then what they did in the women's match, whoever the fourth was, not coming back off the top of memory. But
yeah, me either.
They got down to that last 3, and they didn't give you a second to process final 2.
Oh, Becky, right?
Last year, I think it was. Yeah, and Jade dumped her, right?
It was Jade, Becky, or wait, hold on. Because Becky got eliminated by getting like kicked in the face by another elimination, right?
Oh, it was Jade. It was Jade swinging Naomi, who like...
Oh, it was Naomi, yeah.
Who like 619 kicked her.
Right.
Dumped Naomi. That was a Mage spot.
So let me ask you this. Do you think, because I have a theory, not a theory, but do you think that did you notice all the ladies were sitting around the ring after like there were like 6 of them?
They were so happy for Bayley.
They were happy for Bayley. They all wanted to see it with their own eyes. I guarantee. Yeah, dude. Agreed, for sure. No, you know what that does for my heart. Well. You know what that does for my heart.
It was the pace of the ending to where like they legitimately didn't have time to like really process. Like, damn it, like we really got. But also they were in no rush to hit the ramp.
No, they were selling it. Like, especially Becky, they were selling it. But at the same time, they weren't leaving. Like, they knew something. They knew what was coming.
Nah, dude. And tonight, more than ever, I'm proud to say, I was there when Bayley axed the huggers.
Oh, yeah.
There. I saw it with thine own eyes.
That's awesome. Yeah,
was there. We started all of this. We were there.
Yeah, you were there, man. That was you did it. It was something about you in the crowd. She saw you and she was like, I'm sick of this.
And tonight she bookended it with, you like me. You all like me, don't you?
Yes. Oh, and that face turn is going to be so. I don't know when they're going to cement it. I realized they were cheering her tonight, but that face turn is just going to be amazing.
If she came out at Mania with the no stop it, like that might be way too hard of like a 180.
Maybe so, yeah.
But I think that music would do stuff to me inside.
Yeah, and
the Sasha stuff with Bayley and NXT Brooklyn back, like those were fantastic matches. And Bayley's been out here, bruh, like 10 years plus,
nonstop, man. She there was a part of me tonight that really thought we were doing a 4 horsewomen thing, and Charlotte was going to come out, just healed enough to get thrown over the top rope, and I really thought we might get Mercedes out there. Like I hadn't given up on it yet. I didn't think it was going to happen, but
earlier that I thought it might happen because you know why? It's because Bayley tweeted, "Happy birthday at Mercedes Moné. Miss you, kissing face."
Mercedes has become the ultimate troll when it comes to this too, because she's just. It's an interesting choice to go back to AEW, and if she does,
but is she though? I know you're still.
I don't know.
Probably holding out some hope. To me, it's for one. Sorry to cut you off. AEW just has to figure out the women's division, and I get it. Bringing in Mercedes Moné might help. But they have no track record of knowing how to book a women's roster.
It's true.
With the amount of in-ring time that you devote to on your weekly shows, you have just got to figure out how to divvy that time up. We'll never take them serious if the one match we're getting is your title feud, and then we're supposed to believe it's just not booked properly. You watch NXT for 3 weeks, you will be enthralled by their women's division because it's fleshed out. They're giving time. They're giving screen time. Character development happens. We get none of that properly in AEW, and it's like, Sasha, come on.
Oh, and by the way, you talk about AEW division or AEW's women division. Yeah, they need to work on it. But guess whose women's division just got the rub from the big guys, from the TNA. E. TNA just got a huge rub, and I'm telling you what. It's good for them. It's good for both of them. And the more those two work in tandem, you got to wonder, like how long until Dolph Ziggler comes out as Dolph Ziggler to his music. Like that could be part of it. You know, there's a partnership there. And I think the key is like there's no animosity. TNA doesn't think they're going to be WWE. They think they're going to be TNA. There's nothing wrong with that, you know? So, yeah, you're all of a sudden you're getting knockouts, shout outs on WWE TV. Look out.
Dude, and I think that Mickie James came out in the Rumble while she was the Knockouts champion.
I think she had the belt.
Ago.
Yeah.
I don't think she came out with the belt, though.
I thought she did. Or maybe they just called her the champion. No, you might be right.
I think so. I don't think she had it. Like, there was like, oh, that's Mickie James. Side note, she's a champion in another promotion or something like that. Tonight,
I think they said TNA or Impact. They said Impact.
With a different belt.
Right, yeah.
Like, it hit different. And then she got out there, and
she's good.
Fire. Like they weren't
stacking
up to her. Poor Ivy Nile. You know, I like Ivy Nile. She tried to hit some beats in lockstep with her that she just didn't hit.
Mm-hmm.
But throughout the match, still, Jordynne Grace's performance was great. She took the KOD on the apron. I think that was made too because, like, hey, what one of your jabronis couldn't eliminate me. You had to use the EST, who also next to her who has a great physique. Hadn't caught her in ring work like that. Bianca next to her, just it re-emphasized, Bianca's a freaking. She is a dog, dude.
Yeah,
like,
dude. Bianca's I don't know how we're working her into Mania, but you almost want to do another belt. You're like, hey, can we get another belt going here? Because they are stacked with talent right now. They're booking it well. The women and the men, I think, are both, putting on really great work. Like it's no longer like the mid card. We're talking like people want to watch these matches in the main event, and quite frankly, Jade's just going to make that even more so. Like, who wouldn't want if you heard Jade's coming out in the main event? You gonna be mad at that? I'm not.
Think about her with a belt up for grabs or a real storyline up for grabs says mid.
No, not a thing. I think the biggest problem with WWE's women's division right now is the deficit between the mid card and the upper level. I think the upper level is the upper tier is, as good as we've ever seen. And then you get down to the level and you get like people like Xia Li. And Xia Li comes out and she does her katana from Mortal Kombat thing or whatever it is. And I just go, come on.
They need a mid-card belt.
They need a mid-card belt to make people compete for it.
The North
to make storylines
in NXT was introduced at a perfect time.
Yeah.
I think they had a 10-man ladder match.
Mm-hmm.
To crown the inaugural North American champion. And in that match were guys like, at the time, Velveteen Dream, Ricochet, Adam Cole. It was a 10-man ladder match with guys in it.
Yeah.
And it was a case in point example of, this roster needs another belt. So that way, at least Xia Li, you can there's something more credible for you to do because we know for a matter of fact you're not winning one of these big ones.
Yeah, and her presentation
for a mid-carder to beat, that's more legitimate than just there's no way she's
right. And her presentation makes it clear. Like you're not looking at her going like, oh, she's a threat. Like no, her presentation is not there. So, but I mean, I think one thing we've seen is that it's abundantly clear their top level is the best in wrestling. And I don't know why someone like Mercedes wouldn't want to be a part of it because she is top level as well.
Knock it off.
You want to go be a big fish in a small pond, or do you want to be a big fish in a big pond? Because,
and it's like
that's what she's going to be.
You wouldn't say that Io Sky is levitating above all these women, but by just proxy of being the champ, she's got the
storyline
right now. Whereas
she's got plot armor.
Yeah. Whereas in Rhea right now, just from everything, it's like, yeah, no,
she's one of the best wrestlers, period.
Talk about her differently.
Like, we don't have to, there's no gender gap there. She's one of the best wrestlers in wrestling right now. Yeah. Absolutely zero question.
Last thing, it stood out to me how WWE trying to figure out their women's tag team division has like infiltrated the whole roster as well, because like everybody comes out and then a couple of minutes later, oh well, that's their partner.
She has backup. Does she?
Yeah. They used to be tag team champions, but you look at the lineage of that women's tag team belt, it's helped some folks stay afloat.
Yeah, it's a bit of a zoo. Yeah,
I know, but it's still existing. It has some strange legacy that
it does,
that is being passed down with it. It had the role models, Sasha and Bayley. It had even seeing the Kabuki Warriors, from when they originally had it to when they have it now. There was the Raquel and Liv era that was like kind of cool.
Forgot about that. There is Chelsea Green and Piper.
It's worked. Going back to the Iconics,
the Iconics. I miss the Iconics. They'd be natural tag team champions right now.
It's a way to book the division,
It's at least they don't seem to be forgetting about it now.
There was the Baszler Ronda era,
Don't remind me.
Sort of short-lived.
Oh boy.
Oh man.
Did it work? Did that work? Is that the word you would use? Work?
It worked for her last 3 months in the company.
Okay. It saw her out. Okay. All right.
Yeah, gracefully.
Was that graceful? Okay. I saw that last match with her, the MMA match. Was that graceful?
Anything else?
Not about that.
Yeah, no, man.
We're on the road, man. We're on the road. The road to WrestleMania.
We personally and as a collective think it's great.
I think it's great. Yes.
For the record, I have a mutual connection with Peter Rosenberg.
Do you really? Oh wow, there you go.
I'm hemming and hawing visually. Doing my best with this team, but I may exhaust that resource.
Okay.
And try to get Rosenberg, just so that way he knows that I too, along with the friends that I have talking wrestling on here, love it and think that is great.
It's certainly great. Mm-hmm. Some would say we steal it gently.
We didn't get to talk about Claudio. We don't have to.
That's future, man. But we got plenty of time to talk about that. It was a good talk. But none of it is so timely that it would be ruined by a couple of weeks.
Right. Folks, this guy sat with Claudio on a rooftop overlooking the Las Vegas Strip. Put some respect on his name.
There needs to be no respect. I get enough respect as it is. I just love being on the pod, man. I appreciate you having me.
No, my pleasure, dude. This is good. Less is being said, bro. We'll get back on here soon enough.
I'll get you some clips. We'll get some exclusives. It was a few fun things we talked about. Roman versus Nick Aldis in general might work out. That might be the last straw. That might be the one that makes Solo turn on him. Yeah. I'm into it.
Continue. Well, man, we appreciate you. Like, follow, subscribe to the show. As always, we appreciate you for listening, and we will be back very soon. And until next time.
Whose game is it? With everybody saying L.A. Night.